a child, my parents got divorced when I was very young. So I didn't see my father very often. So of course, as a girl who doesn't see her father very often, I needed to impress him. And my mother was a teacher, so I had no choice but to do good at school. It was very important that I perform at school, that I had good grades, and to please my mother and to please my mother. And I would encourage everyone to focus on what's going on at school. Sometimes when you're a teenager, you think about other things, but you're building your future when you study. So that's possibly my first lesson. I was lucky enough to be pushed by my parents. And I had in mind to be an engineer, which I did many things, but I never did engineering. So that was possibly my first idea, but my dad was a policeman, and my mother a teacher. So they both were serving a civil servant their country in one way, so possibly that was the back of my mind. But as I was studying, I was quite good in maths, but terrible in physics. So anything to do with engineering was out of the window. So I went to business. I did a business school, and I liked it very much, but I went into the private sector. The opposite of my parents. Sometimes you do exactly what your parents want you to do, or the exact opposite. It's one or the other. Well, as a woman, I never quite understood why I should give up on anything versus my male colleagues. I mean, why? Because I'm a woman, I would have to sacrifice one aspect of my life, professional, personal, or as a mother. I couldn't picture, envisage to sacrifice anything. So even intellectually, I still don't get it. It's not because you're born as a woman that you automatically have to sacrifice your professional ambition because you need to take care of your husband. In my country, there was years, decades of fights by women to gain rights and equality, and we're not there yet. A lady in my country, in France, still pays 20 to 30% less than a man in the exact same position. It's just a question of being organized and also finding yourself the best companion. And I chose my husband also having in mind, is it going to be a husband who asks me some sacrifices, a husband who would not tolerate that I make more money, a husband who would really want me to be a mother at home or would not help. That was something very important, apart from being struck by love, obviously. But in addition, I wanted to have someone who really would let me be and prosper and flourish as an individual. So I'm a mother of three. It was hard for me to have them because I waited possibly for too long and put my career not first. It just happened this way. But I have three children. I'm a happy mother. I'm a very happy wife, and also an accomplished professional. So you can do everything you want. You do not have to sacrifice anything. The sky is the limit, even for women. The trend is even global. Even in countries like France, there is a trend that the young people, you need to understand one thing. In France, school is mandatory and free for all. We have a unique social system. Same applies to health. Health is free for all. You go to an hospital, you don't pay a dime. You pay nothing. And your child from the age of 6, but even before, you have many schools, but from the age of 6, it's mandatory. If you can be punished as a parent not to put your child to school, and it's free. And when you reach a town, the schools they have an obligation to take your children. They can't turn them down in public schools. So we have this unit system. Nevertheless, the skills that are acquired by the youth may not sometimes be useful in real life. So there's a discrepancy. The people go and study something that is not going to lead to a job, and that's everywhere, a lot of the time. But there's one solution to all of that, and that's in Uganda and in France, and it's entrepreneurship. This is the thing that will solve a lot of these issues. Many of the young people in my country, they want to have a long-term stable job in a company, in an office, or in a public office, to be a civil servant. That's what they want. Well, they're going to be disappointed because there's not enough of this type of jobs for everyone. And a lot of them are going to be put aside. So I think the solution is to believe in yourself and build your business and say that think that you're going to be building 1 and 2 and 3 and many, and that nothing will ever be for granted. This is a new world that we're going to live in, all of us, and that includes France too. There's going to be no guarantee for a job for life type of thing. It's finished. We have a new world. We may like it or not like it, but we need to adjust and adapt to that one. I arrived here, I looked around and realized there were a few female ambassadors, not that many, but a few. And some directors, head of missions. So we had the US ambassador, Norwegian, Turkish. Then we had the UN resident coordinator, the IMF, the World Bank. So I thought, why don't we get together and see what we can do, what we've done already, what works, and what can we do. So we had lunch and we discussed, and we came up with that idea that maybe sometimes it's not money that is a solution, it's self-confidence, opportunity, and a network. And when you're equipped with this type of skills or opportunities, then you can grow and go much further than when you just receive a grant. So we created this Women for Women Award. We were, like women are, extremely organized, and we put it online on Facebook. It was completely transparent. Anyone could apply. We had around 90 to 100 applicants, and we had categories. So we had business, we had civil society, rights, but of course also sport, academics, and finally a youth, someone with a good initiative but very young. And each time we found 3 nominees. Some of them were done already. They were known to the public. We said, no, we want unsung heroes, the ones who are doing great things but are not in the spotlight, like many women are. The men sometimes they go in the spotlight, having done nothing, and the ladies do a lot and they don't go in the spotlight. That's humility of a lot of women who would say, no, I can't. And the men, I can, of course. So having noticed that, we try to push them. So in each category, 3 of them, the first one gets a trip to the US, to France or Turkey, because we had opportunities to send them there in a tailored trip in the area and expertise about the area they want to develop. And the 2 others, they get some mentoring, as you were mentioning, mentoring. So we by their side, they can explain their project, we give them some training if need be, or access to a network. And when we leave, all these international ladies, when we leave, we want the Ugandan women to take over and continue. This is why, as part of the jury, we had 3 Ugandan ladies, friends of ours, and we're hoping that this network will create and promote for women to have access to opportunities, to be women of influence, women of power, because we can. And the idea is to tell these ladies, yes, you can.
My name is Kayungiris Raymond, and I would like to ask you questions about politics. Well, when you look at France, you have a very young president, and when you look back here in Uganda, the case is different. Well, I'm not bringing it as a comparison, but as a point to build my question. And when you look at the population in Uganda, the demographics, it is more of young children. It is more of young people. And how do you think, starting with women who you're passionate about, help them build the ideology of embracing themselves? The young generation. Because in most cases, when you are of more of the same age, you tend to have the same reasoning, or your ideas are not way far from others, because in most cases, the old people will always relate to the 1980s, which factors do not really apply to the 21st century. Thank you.
It's a tough question, but the question of leadership, if you look at the world, has been interesting because not only Macron, below 40, got elected in my country, but you have also Trudeau in Canada as another example. And then you have President Trump, which is over 70, and his competition was Hillary Clinton, which was around the same age. So it's hard to say that age is a key element in leadership. There's many things to say. If Emmanuel Macron, just below 40, could not relate to the situation of retired people in France, he would lose the election. A vast majority of voters in my country are retired people after 70. The age at which people live in my country goes up to 80, 90 years of age. And these retired people are very committed to voting. So, in fact, Emmanuel Macron won this election because people over 70 believed in him. But possibly because they thought he was also the solution for communicating to the youth. It's a question of balance. If my president was of a mentality of 39, he would not have won this election. I believe he's very mature. So he can relate to both. He has a very startup way of thinking, but he could also relate with the retired people. So it's a question of democracy and choosing your leader. If you have democracy and you vote, you need to choose your leader. But you need to have the choice of different leaders and different types and so on. So I believe that in Uganda, like anywhere else, you need to have more of people stepping up and say, maybe I can be this leader. And some of them are going to be young, some of them are going to be not so young, some experienced, some less experienced, and then you have the choice. And then you can pick the one that you relate to. But in the current days, when the age expectancy is growing everywhere, you need to find, we call it the sheep with 5 feet. That's what we say in France, the one that doesn't exist. I can relate to the 19-year-old and the 90-year-old. So it's a question of having a project. It's based on some leadership, but also some ideas and a project which seems viable to everyone. So, but when you look globally, it's a very interesting trend. I will welcome you in October, 26th and 27th of October this year at the University of Makerere to talk about geopolitics. I'm bringing 6 researchers from France and some are coming from Germany. And we'll have some local researchers, journalists, visible personalities from the region. And for 2 days in Makerere University, we'll have 21 roundtables on geopolitics. One of them is called Alpha Male versus Newcomers. And it's going to be contemplating and debating what sort of leadership we are craving for. Because it looks like we don't know what to choose at the moment globally. You'll have one on fake news. You'll have one on women of influence and power. You'll have one on terrorism, Black Panther as a phenomenon, one on sport. Is it the new way of soft power? So we have many roundtables, and I would invite you. It's free for all. Anyone can come. You have 3 roundtables at a time, so you have plenty of choice. And during that time, we're hoping that these researchers from very different backgrounds can address in depth these issues that you're raising of leadership globally.
My name is Karen Jafsa. Sorry, I'm going to go a little aside. What are you guys doing to address sexual harassment in young ladies? Okay, it's one case we don't talk about. I have personally suffered it, not physically, but in another way. It is a very big case happening to young girls, but it is embarrassing somehow to address. I'm sorry, it's not like lack of confidence, but there's a way it is hard to address that I was done this and that by this and this one, whereby you do not have security after that and protection. So as an embassy, how are you? Because I'm impressed you're working in other fields, but you've not talked about this. We know about the Makerere issue. It's the only one we could get maybe on camera, but other schools and environments I've been to, these things are there, especially when it comes to employment times. You want a job, someone is offering something for something, it is there, it is physical. I am a witness, though really you know how it comes after that. It is there. What do we do about that? Thank you.
I think France in particular has nothing to do there particularly. We are not here. It's a global international issue. We have our own issues back home. this Me Too movement was translated into balance ton porc, which is denounce your pig. I'm translating literally. So I think each country has to deal with it as much as possible locally. Of course, I can't. I'm here as a guest. I can't, but I will be by the side of any case, any ladies that is brought to my attention. Nobody has so far alerted me personally on a case. If it was a case in my embassy or within a French company, then I would feel legitimate to actually act upon that case. By marching alongside the women this Saturday at the Women March, I did, I believe, something to show that whatever happens to women in Uganda, you'll have me on your side. I can't do more than that because I'm not in charge of the justice or the police in Uganda, of course. So that is to be dealt locally. But if there is any action that needs or don't need, but I will support it. I will support it individually, or I will support it as a woman or as a representative of my government. I believe that the number one key to that one is to communicate, to speak loud about this thing, and to do it in a group. If you have an isolated case, it's very hard. If many ladies denounce at the same time the issue, you have the Me Too movement. And you have things that used to be tolerated that are not tolerated anymore. Look at what's going on in the States and how many very visible people are blocked out in, of course, cinema and so on, but globally. I mean, it's happening. These people are professionally dead. And that happened because everyone at the same time stood up. And that is a strength. I individually can't do anything that really would change the issue. But globally, yes, we all can. And what went on at the University of Makerere happened because a lot of people spoke about it and denounced it and put it in the spotlight. And then actions were taken to resolve this issue. But when it stays in Eden, when people are ashamed, although you're the one harassed, you're also the one to feel the shame, which is a double penalty for you. So no, there is no shame in being a victim of rape, of sexual harassment, moral harassment, physical aggression. This is not normal. Victims should not feel any sort of shame. But then, of course, the police, the justice, the association have to take on board this action and find the culprit. And when they found the culprit, it's not like a slap on the hand or 12 days in a prison. It should be serious, absolutely. And that is also going to help. Because even in my country, you look at some issues of rape, sometimes I feel that it's not enough. It's as if it's a small issue and then you move on. No, it needs to be jail time. It needs to be for a long time in order for all the people to also look at women in a different way. We're not disposable asset that you up for grabs anytime you want. We have to be respected. And in countries where women are more respected, then the country prospers more because we are one of the wealth of the country. Even sometimes a backbone of a society. So you will always have me by your side, that I can guarantee as an individual and as a woman. And for the rest, I believe in collective action.
Thank you for answering those very difficult questions, particularly the one at the end. We're so happy you came. I think we're going to wrap up the show. Maybe one more statement. Have you paid your social media tax?
I don't know. It's dealt with by my embassy, but my WhatsApp was not cut off. I can just tell you that. It was still working. But since it was working, I was still able to reach Twitter, Facebook, and WhatsApp, and hear about the reactions of the Ugandan on the starts. Personally, I think the data have already been touched. As a matter of fact, I was in a discussion with the president and all the European ambassadors when this was raised months ago, and it was to our. We were all very astonished about this. I said that would be the only country in the world to touch social media. So I believe it's a nice tool. WhatsApp is used by, I even say, but Your Excellency, WhatsApp is used by all your ministers over there.
Yeah. Oh,
And they were like, yes, we all use WhatsApp. Of course, everybody use WhatsApp.
yeah.
So I believe it's a great tool to use all this social media. But I have one comment on that. It has to be used with respect. It is true, I have to say, that social media are often, not often, but sometimes used to
Misused.
disseminate message of hate
Yes.
and to harass people. And this is has to be definitely handled, because it can destroy people professionally or personally using social media. So this issue of social media is one of respect and proper use of this media. So that point, I believe, is a very valid one. But the tax is up to the authority to decide on the taxation in Uganda.
Absolutely.